Part 32. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 311. In the evening, Xiaoming returned to Beihe village and met Han Yuxian again. At this time, Li Xiaoao, Lin Yueru, and Hattori Zhozang had also returned. The medicinal materials for treating Zhao Linger have been prepared. Seeing that Master Zhang Xiaoming came back empty-handed, the others didn't care. After all, everyone has their own expertise. Han Yuxian was old and wise, and didn't show any expression. His daughter Han Mensi, who was gentle by nature, didn't say much. It was just that Xiaoming felt a little sorry. After thinking carefully, he took out some Chinese herbal medicines from Guangmingding. These things were picked up by Xiaoming on Nuhua Star. They were sealed for a long time. There used to be a pharmacy there, and Xiaoming's cup of life was also picked up there. The medicinal materials on Nuhua Star and the world of reincarnation seemed to be irrelevant. But this time they just happened to be right. Seeing these medicinal materials, Han Yuxian's eyes were straight. He recognized a small part of them as precious medicinal materials, with slightly different appearances. Although he didn't recognize the others, judging from the appearance and smell, they were not ordinary goods. Could these be the legendary elixir? Master Zhang was very generous. How to say it? Although they are Chinese herbal medicines from Nuhua Star, they are also carbon-based life like the herbs from Pangu Star, and the basic principles are still the same. Coupled with the infiltration of magic energy, they are indeed comparable to elixir. With these medicines, Zhao Linger and her child will definitely be safe, and even a blessing in disguise. However, only Han Yuxian knew that she was pregnant, and he didn't tell Li Xiaoao and others. Zhang Xiaoming judged it based on life energy. Sixth brother, no, Master Zhang, thank you so much. I bow to you on behalf of Linger. After Li Xiaoao knew the preciousness of these medicinal materials, he was grateful and thanked Xiaoming frequently, even to the point of being incoherent. Lin Yueru also thanked him repeatedly, and there was another point of admiration. She was born in a wealthy family. Lin Jiabao is the first fort in Jiangnan. The fort owner Lin Tianese, with his sword pointing to two unique skills, dominated Tianese and was promoted as the leader of the southern Wulin. He has unparalleled prestige and even more financial resources. But even her family can't afford so many and such good medicinal materials. It seems that they just took them out casually. Who is this Mr. Zhang? If it were someone else, they would probably be very wary of Xiaoming. It's just that these two people, one is chic and the other is heroic, don't value money and power, but only value friendship. This is exactly what Xiaoming appreciates about Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru. Hey brother Xiaoao, you are being too formal when you say that. Just call me sixth brother, I like this nickname very much. Everyone was stunned and laughed. It seems that everyone knows the true meaning of the nickname sixth brother. Hattori Zhozang even confirmed Zhang Xiaoming's native identity. He also made a little deal with Zhang Xiaoming, exchanging 3 herbs for a broken puppet. Then Hattori Zhozang left Beihe village on the pretext of something. Xiaoming knew that he probably completed his mission and left this world. With the medicinal materials, Zhao Linger quickly recovered her health, and was even better than before. That night, everyone held a bonfire party to celebrate. Han Yuxian was old and soon got drunk. Han Nianzi helped his old father to rest. That night, the moon was bright in the sky. Yin Xiaoming and the 3 protagonists continued to drink and chat in the yard. Xiaoming took out the cup of life and continued to sell favors. Everyone, this cup is a treasure given by my master before I left the mountain. Every once in a while, it can condense 2 drops of spiritual liquid. Taking it can strengthen the body. I have already taken it, and Miss Linger has just taken the spiritual medicine and has not yet fully absorbed it. Young Master Li and Miss Lin are just right. Are you interested? As he said this, he had already condensed 2 drops of spiritual liquid in the cup of life with the source energy. Pour it into the wine bowls of Lin and Li respectively. None of the 3 suspected Xiaoming of having bad intentions, but they just felt a little embarrassed that they had been receiving benefits from the 6th brother without giving anything in return. Lin Yueru was still straightforward. Children of the rivers and lakes don't need red tape. I am grateful for the kindness of the 6th brother. If there is a place for me in the future, I will go through fire and water without hesitation. After that, she picked up the wine bowl and drank it all. Li Xiaoao nodded heavily to Xiaoming and drank it all. Xiaoming felt that the physical and mental qualities of the 2 of them had improved by several points right in front of Xiaoming. The 2 of them jumped up, drew their swords and whipped, and fought together in the moonlight and in the courtyard. Looking at these 2 martial arts idiots, Xiaoming and Ling Er smiled at each other. Zhao Ling Er picked up the wine bowl and said to Xiaoming, "My body can be cured, and Brother Zhang has made an indelible contribution. You are such a warm-hearted and kind person." Ling Er toasts to brother. "It hurts, my friend. Just toast if you want to, why are you being nice?" Looking at Zhao Linger's innocent eyes, Xiaoming knew that she didn't mean that. He had to reach out and hold Linger's wine bowl, and said gently, "Miss Linger's body is still weak, not suitable for drinking. Come on, let's drink this cup of tea instead of wine." What Xiaoming was thinking at this time was, if I could have a cup of coffee and 2 ice creams at this time, it would be a bit interesting. Thanks to Xiaoming's medicinal materials, Zhao Linger is now strong enough to overturn a cow, and she is definitely not weak. Xiaoming said this, obviously knowing that she was pregnant. Zhao Linger blushed with shame, and drank a cup of tea with Xiaoming, lowered her head and didn't speak. This look is actually more moving. Fortunately, Xiaoming had some resistance to Zhao Linger's face at this time. It was much more natural when getting along, and the 2 watched Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru practice sword under the moon together. Li Xiaoao, who was extremely talented, with the help of the original liquid of life, actually mastered the advanced moves of Shushan sword control in half an hour, 10,000 swords. When it was launched, dozens and hundreds of sword chi were swung out, covering a large area. The attack method was very similar to that of a machine gun, and the power of each sword chi was much stronger than a bullet. It was even stronger than the bullets of the energy weapon developed by Xiaoming. What a powerful AoE skill! I must copy it. Without further ado, Lin and Li thanked Zhang Xiaoming again, and the 4 of them talked until late at night. After having fun, they went to bed. At night, Xiaoming, who didn't need to sleep, hid in Guangmingding and sorted out the harvest. The Ghost General led the team to kill the Red Ghost King and got 2 things. One was the inner elixir of the Red Ghost King, and the other was a bead. Xiaoming didn't know it was called the Earth Spirit Bead yet. The inner elixir of the Red Ghost King was useless to Xiaoming, so he gave it to the Ghost General. The bead contained extremely powerful energy, so Xiaoming naturally put it into Guangmingding. In order to maintain the sense of mystery, Xiaoming never stepped into the general's tomb. He just sent a uniform butler clone to the Ghost General to collect the spiritual bead. At the level of the Ghost General, he could already see the Mind Beast, but the space ability of the Mind Beast was still quite shocking to him. Then the whole general's tomb was restored to its appearance before the war. This alchemical method made the Ghost General feel that his new master was mysterious. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 312. In the following days, Beihe village finally returned to peace. Yin Xiaoming also had time to rest. One of his 3 housekeeper clones followed him, one wandered in the general's tomb, and the other remained near Suzhou Linjiabao. Xiaoming always remembered to replenish their telekinesis. Yin Xiaoming found time to return to Linjiabao through Guangmingding. Tell Lin's mother about her daughter's recent situation. The rest of the time he switched between the general's tomb and Beihe village. The ghost general absorbed the inner elixir of the Red Ghost King and needed to practice in seclusion to digest it. So he lived in the original territory of the Red Ghost King, which has now been transformed into a tomb. The ghost general does not need the blood pool. Xiaoming semi-isolated the blood pool for the purpose of cultivating vampires. All the undead soldiers on the ground were withdrawn to the general's tomb by Xiaoming. The demons and monsters still left on the ground are those who have not surrendered to Zhang Xiaoming. Whatever they want, Xiaoming will not care for the time being. Xiaoming also used alchemy to sink the entire general's tomb, which is farther away from the ground. The path in the middle is more complicated. Except for the ghost general himself, other undead spirits probably don't have the intelligence to walk out of the general's tomb. Xiaoming did this to prepare for the future. If he left, these demons and ghosts would be left alone, and they would cause chaos and eventually bring disaster to themselves. Only those with high IQs can walk out of the general's tomb, and such undead spirits can be regarded as normal members of the world of cultivation. Of course, most of the breath of death. It was also collected by Xiaoming in the general's tomb for his subordinates to use. Only a few remnants were left in the mass grave. After arranging the general's tomb, Xiaoming's main thoughts were also placed on Beihe village. According to the original plot, after Zhao Linger was rescued, because Beihe village was plagued by zombies, Han Nianzi would ask the protagonists to go to the Jade Buddha temple and ask the abbot there for help. However, Xiaoming killed the Red Ghost King, who was the culprit for spreading the zombie plague. Once the Red Ghost King died, the plague also disappeared. This plot will not be triggered. Of course, the space should also trigger other plots. It's just that the third wave of reincarnations has arrived at this time. They need to participate in the plot through the previous main tasks. So now is the stage where the third wave of reincarnations are doing the main tasks. So Xiaoming and the protagonists have a rare leisure time. Of course, they have to exchange skills when they are idle. It happened that Xiaoming got books on sword control, 5 elements Taoism and alchemy from the tree demon grandma. When Xiaoming's energy network was stable, his qi training level also exploded directly, breaking through to the intermediate stage of the foundation building period in one fell swoop. At this time, he can completely practice these Taoist methods. Although Xiao Hong and Xiao Lu were also trapped in the demon locking tower, they can still be studied through the commonality of Xiaoming's two souls. Xiaoming is not interested in alchemy for the time being, and he mainly studies sword control and 5 elements Taoism. And Xiaoming also found Zhao Linger, Li Xiaoao, and Lin Yueru. Study together and learn from each other. Zhao Linger is a descendant of Nuwa, and her magic is more inclined to the first-class sorcery. Moreover, she is still young, and she has not had time to learn many advanced things of her own clan. Now, the 5 elements of Taoism and the human Taoists are mutually verified, and Zhao Linger is very smart, and her progress can be said to be rapid. If Xiaoming had not relied on the alchemy driven by mental power to fill the scene, he would have found a crack in the ground to crawl into now. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru are not interested in the 5 elements of Taoism, but are very interested in the sword controlling technique. I don't know which school the Taoist book that Grandma gave to Xiaoming is from, and the stones of other mountains can be used to polish jade. Not only Li Xiaoao's swordsmanship has improved a lot, but even Lin Yueru has learned the sword controlling technique. And Xiaoming can finally use the sword controlling technique openly. Lin Yueru actually envies Li Xiaoao's sword controlling technique. But that is the unique skill of the Shushan school, and she can't learn it secretly. She felt a little unhappy. Just when I was sleepy, someone sent a pillow. The 6th brother actually brought out his master's sword controlling skills for everyone to study. The 6th brother was quite steady. Since he had brought it out, it was allowed by the section. Li Xiaoao learned it without hesitation. Lin Yueru also had a bit of a master's style. She took the initiative to propose that she should worship Zhang Xiaoming as her master and become an outer disciple, so that she could have the nerve to learn other people's unique skills. Xiaoming didn't want to take advantage of Lin Yuuru, so he accepted Lin Yuuru as a junior sister on behalf of the master. Senior brother and junior sister, haha, this is really wanting to take advantage. So Lin Yuuru became the second disciple under the seat of Mingjing's head Mingjingzi. She happily began to learn sword controlling skills. Lin Yuuru was very talented, and she also made some progress in sword controlling skills in 3 or 5 days. How could Xiaoming feel embarrassed? According to the rules, Zhang Xiaoming, as a senior brother, needs to give a gift to the junior sister. Xiaoming simply gave everyone a share, and Li Xiaoao and Zhao Linger also got some. These gifts are the flying swords, spells, magic weapons, elixirs, etc. that Xiaoming got in the world of a Chinese ghost story 1. They are just suitable for people at this level. Especially the 3 flying swords that Grandma gave Xiaoming. After being marked, they can be easily controlled, and even fly with swords after being proficient in the future. Xiaoming got one of these treasures, his junior sister got one, and his future brother-in-law Li Xiaoao naturally got one. It seems not good that Zhao Linger didn't have it. According to Zhao Linger's personality, Xiaoming took the initiative to take out the books on alchemy and the alchemy furnace and gave them to Zhao Linger. Make the beauty smile. So he got another junior sister. It seems that Xiaoming is Li Xiaoao's brother-in-law. No matter how the relationship between these 3 people develops, Xiaoming is still the brother-in-law. Humph, if you have the ability to be Li Xiaoao, only ghosts would be willing to be the senior brother. Xiaoming is used to it. In order to repay Xiaoming's generosity, Li Xiaoao also passed on his family's unique skills flying dragon, exploring cloud hands and ice heart secret to Xiaoming. Zhao Linger doesn't like to fight with others, and refining pills to save people is just what she wants. But in this regard, Xiaoming can't guide her. Xiao Hong and Xiao Lu don't know either, and they are both afraid of fire. Zhao Linger went to Han Yuxian to learn pharmacology. In order to let the third sister learn better, Xiaoming told Linger that this alchemy book is not a unique skill of the master, and she can read it with Han Yuxian. Linger was overjoyed, and Han Yuxian and his daughter were also blessed to be able to see Taoist books. In order to refine pills, the 3 of them also issued a lot of tasks such as collection and handed them over to the reincarnations to do. It also contributed to the advancement of the plot. Xiaoming is not very interested in alchemy, or he has no time to study it for the time being. So he usually practiced swordsmanship with Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru during the day. Occasionally, he would go to Han Yuxian and Zhao Linger to listen, and secretly admire the beauty of the third sister. Although it was far away, he could still see it with a circular observation. But it was different from seeing it with his eyes. Fortunately, Xiaoming never showed his pig brother look. So he didn't cause boredom. The characteristics of ancient Chinese clothing are mainly to highlight the gentleness, beauty, and dignity of Chinese women. Xiaoming can still hold on without developing in the direction of sexiness. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 313. Time passed unknowingly for more than a month, and the third wave of reincarnations finally triggered the plot. There is a Jade Buddha temple in the northwest of Beihe village. The abbot of the temple has some skills. But what he did is a bit unreliable. He converted many hunters and woodcutters in Beihe village into monks. These people have families with them. If they become monks, how can the elderly, wives, and children at home live? The early task of the reincarnations is to build up goodwill with the villagers, and then they can collect these information. When there is enough information, these things will be summarized here by the protagonist. On behalf of the whole village, the village chief Han Yuxian asked Li Xiaoao and others to go to the Jade Buddha temple to find out. Xiaoming didn't know how many reincarnations followed this time, because he is now in seclusion and busy with his own affairs. Although Xiaoming promised Lin's mother to take care of Lin Yuuru, but his own escape is obviously more important. Xiaoming feels that he has found a direction and can give it a try. So a few days ago, Xiaoming had already left Beihe village under the pretext of being summoned by his master. If it weren't for secretly learning the 10,000 swords technique, he would have left a few days earlier. Yin Xiaoming actually went to the general's tomb for retreat. In his experiment, it was quite difficult to use source energy to open up a space like Guangmingding. The created space must be able to withstand the space blockade of the demon locking tower. That is not a matter of the nature of the ability of mind. His two small trees of source energy are obviously not enough. Moreover, he does not know the skills of creating space, so he can only do it by force. So Xiaoming's little source energy seems to be stretched in the face of such a large-scale scientific research project. At this time, Xiaoming got the Earth Spirit Pearl. Although he didn't know what this thing was called and what its origin was, but Xiaoming still felt the vast energy contained in it. The mystery of the Earth Spirit Pearl in Xiaoming's heart is no less than that of the demon locking tower. If it is used as a basis to create space, perhaps there will be no fear of the demon locking tower's blockade of space. Xiaoming thought this conjecture was worth a try, but he needed absolute concentration, so Silver Xiaoming hid in the general's tomb for retreat. Green Xiaoming also stopped the expansion of the insect human in the locking demon tower. The three housekeeper clones were no longer maintained, and Xiaoming concentrated on studying how to use the Earth Spirit Pearl to open up new space. During this period, in the locking demon tower, Green Xiaoming's insect human population was also developing healthily. First, Xiaoming, Xiaolu and some insect people established an agricultural system in the nest. Xiaoming can make sunlight, soil, water, and fertilizer. The insect human soon started farming. Then, Xiaoming developed animal husbandry for the insect human. It is difficult to raise large livestock or poultry. So Xiaoming's animal husbandry is mainly raising insects. Can raising insects be considered animal husbandry? The monsters caught in the locking demon tower cannot even bring in an egg. It is difficult for Xiaoming to get livestock or poultry cubs. However, they always bring in various insects and eggs, and monsters often die in the locking demon tower, so insects can reproduce in the tower. As for what kind of insects Green Xiaoming raises, we won't go into details. I'm afraid it will disgust everyone. Anyway, Green Xiaoming himself doesn't eat them. Anyway, insects are not picky eaters. And Xiaoming finally found a weapon to deal with monsters, the water of demon transformation. This is the best weapon to restrict monsters in the locking demon tower. The water of demon transformation is fatal to monsters, but harmless to humans. What about the insect humans of Green Xiaoming's clan? 50-50. There is some damage, but it will not be fatal. Xiaoming used alchemy to make a water gun made of special materials, which is specially used to shoot the water of demon transformation. A water replenishment device was built. So far, the insect humans have energy weapons in their left hands and water guns in their right hands. They move in groups and are invincible in the upper floors of the locking demon tower. The structure of the locking demon tower is quite special. Generally, you go up from the bottom to the top of a tower, but you go down from the top to the bottom of the demon locking tower. The distribution of monsters is also stronger the further you go down. So the insect humans only occupy a large part of the top floor and a small part of the negative first floor for the time being, and the negative second floor has just been explored. However, Xiaoming still didn't have the courage to go to the forbidden area that could shoot sword energy. As the number of insect humans increased, Xiaoming gradually figured out some rules for random spawning. At the beginning, Xiaoming could only breed insect humans from level 1 to 4. And there were very few level 4 insect humans. The largest number was level 2 and level 3 insect humans, which were normal insect humans. They can be called insect soldiers. Whenever the number of normal insect humans reached an integer of 10, a level 4 insect human might be produced, which Xiaoming called an insect lieutenant. But occasionally there were exceptions, and a level 1 defective insect human might be produced to replace the insect lieutenant. So far, the insect human population has developed to 1. Outside of Guangmingding, the rest are in the demon locking tower. Among them, there are 7 4th-level insect lieutenants and 2 1st-level cripples. But at this time, Xiaoming felt something strange. The number 100 that was being nurtured should be a tough one. Because this egg has been constantly asking for energy from the insect king, but there has been no sign of formation. This is because the monsters in the locking demon tower can be eaten with high-level flesh and sufficient nutrition. Green Xiaoming was able to lay eggs at full capacity. If it were in the outside world, it is estimated that number 30 would not have been born yet. Where can you find a place with such rich nutrition? When Yin Xiaoming planned to retreat, Green Xiaoming decided to give birth to number 100 first. Mobilized all of Green Xiaoming's energy, and even most of Silver Xiaoming's energy. Continued replenishment for 2 days. The egg was successfully born, vomited. Xiaoming prayed secretly, number 100 must live up to himself, these energy sources are not a joke. In the world of the Matrix, Xiaoming's death harvested an entire city, but it did not consume Xiaoming's dual energy at that time. Xiaoming's energy is much stronger now than it was then. However, this egg actually consumed almost all of Xiaoming's current dual energy, and also consumed Xiaoming's energy that he had automatically recovered in the past 2 days, and then it took shape. If this still gave birth to a waste, it would be too sorry for Xiaoming. Of course, the result would not be like this. When number 100 was hatched, it was indeed earth-shaking, and the powerful breath shocked the entire level of the locking demon tower. Only Green Xiaoming, the insect king, was immune. This insect man had extremely powerful telekinesis when he was born, his eyes were like eagles, his back had wings, and he also had a bow. Somehow, Xiaoming knew that this was one of his most loyal personal guards. He was also a bowman. Xiaoming no longer called him number 100, but named him Zhangzhong. The name was taken from Huangzhong, one of the 5 tiger generals of Shu during the Three Kingdoms period, but he just took his surname. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 314. To be honest, Xiaoming doesn't know how strong the personal guard Zhangzhong is, and he can't judge it. Even Zhangzhong himself doesn't know. Because all his knowledge comes from Xiaoming himself. What Xiaoming doesn't know, he doesn't know either. Xiaoming only knows that Zhangzhong's huge telekinetic power far exceeds Xiaoming's 2 bodies. In his feeling, level 4 and level 5 are not so strong. Xiaoming has met people or NPCs above level 6. For example, Zhang Shizu in reality and Master Guo Jinsong in the game. But people who have reached this level can already restrain their whole body's aura. Xiaoming can no longer judge by the strength of the aura alone. Xiaoming's telekinetic abilities such as circle and condensation can only feel that Zhangzhong is terribly strong, but cannot determine his strength. The Zerg skill scan map is capable of comparison. The Zerg should be knowledgeable and will not be like Xiaoming, who is limited by his own knowledge and cannot identify a power that is too high. In any case, they are stronger than Xiaoming. The Zerg's map scanning is a really cool mental skill, but it is greatly restricted in the demon locking tower. It can neither scan outside the tower nor scan another floor. Because the layers in the demon locking tower are separated by space barriers instead of floors and ceilings. Therefore, there are no stairs or ropeways between the floors of the demon locking tower, but they are connected by small teleportation arrays. The location of the teleportation array is supposed to be a strategic location, but the spheres of influence of all the big monsters avoid the teleportation array. It is estimated that there is something fishy. Therefore, Xiaoming's insect nest is far away from the teleportation array. Although the map scanning is subject to many restrictions, it can still be used within a single floor of the demon locking tower. This is also one of the reasons why the Zerg people have always been successful in the demon locking tower. In the scanned map, Zhangzhong is the kind of red color. At the same time, it is also marked as his subordinate. In the future, this color can be compared with others. Of course, this comparison is not particularly accurate, because everyone's strength is changing. After a while, Xiaoming's own strength will definitely increase, and then Zhangzhong's color will definitely be different from the current color. It can only be used as a reference. Only the comparison at the same time is more reasonable. For example, now, Zhangzhong and the forbidden area that can release sword energy have almost the same color. Because of blowing sting. After entrusting all the affairs of the insect human to Zhangzhong, the two Xiaomings entered a state of seclusion, devoting their whole body and mind to the earth spirit beads, source energy, mental power, and creating space. Xiaoming's seclusion time was not as long as expected, and the effect was also half-baked. It was about more than 2 months later when he came out of seclusion. With the purpose of creating space, the earth spirit beads as the basis, and the source energy and mental power to induce and shape, Xiaoming did achieve his goal and created a space. This space is actually the internal space of the earth spirit beads. Its properties also meet Xiaoming's conditions. The space can be opened by Xiaoming's different souls as ports, and items can also be stored. If Xiaoming wants, he can also go in from one side and come out from the other side. Being able to open this space in the demon locking tower means that the demon locking tower has not blocked this space. However, there is only one problem: this newly created space is too small. At the beginning, it was only the size of a walnut. In other words, if Xiaoming does not intend to chop himself into pieces, he can only stretch out a finger from it for the time being. But there is still hope. During the retreat stage, Xiaoming is just doing basic setting work. Now the setting has been completed, and this small space is in a continuous growth stage. Half of the nutrients required for growth are provided by the Earth Spirit Pearl, and the other half is provided by Xiaoming. This space only accepts Xiaoming's source energy and mental power. If Xiaoming supplies more, it will grow faster. If the supply is less, the growth will naturally be slower. On the first day, due to Xiaoming's unremitting efforts to provide, and when the space was still small, the changes were more obvious. It grew to the size of a watermelon in one day. This gave Xiaoming great hope, so he confidently named the new space in the Earth Spirit Pearl Kunlun. The Earth Spirit Pearl was also refined by Xiaoming into a portable magic weapon, and now resides in Xiaoming's soul. When he couldn't escape, Xiaoming was extremely eager to leave the demon locking tower. He wanted to end this world. He wanted to go back to Pangustar to see his sister and friends. Now that hope is in front of him, Xiaoming feels less anxious. This is human nature. When leaving is no longer a problem, Xiaoming will consider how much belongings to take away. The insects are all his children, so he must take them away. So it is best to wait until Kunlun is big enough to allow his biggest subordinates to pass through, and then consider whether to leave. And Xiaoming also thought of the benefits of staying in the fairy sword world, because the time on Pangustar is in a static state, and he can practice to a very strong level before going back. By then, there will not be too many things that can threaten him. Being trapped in the demon locking tower is both a crisis and an opportunity. Now the crisis has been resolved. Of course, opportunities must be seized. Yin Xiaoming sent Zhao Linger's blood to the Insect King through Kunlun. When it fell into the hands of the Insect King, the desire to absorb it became stronger. It must be a good thing. Of course, it was the blood of the descendants of Nuwa. After absorbing it, the insect king's physical fitness was improved again, and now it is the 4th level intermediate. Unexpectedly, his mental strength was also improved, and it was upgraded to the 6th level intermediate. The power hidden in Zhao Linger's blood is too strong. It can actually enhance mental power, and the enhanced mental power is level 6. Xiao Ming's guess about Zhao Linger's life experience has been raised again. Maybe she is really a fairy descending to the earth. The third sister's thigh is too thick, I must hug her tightly if I have the chance. With Xiao Ming coming out of retreat and Zhang Zhong joining, the strength of the insect human beings has become stronger on the surface. According to Xiao Ming's plan, Xiao Ming should be in charge of the interior, and he should stay in the insect nest to do logistics work. Zhang Zhong should be in charge of the outside world, taking the insect human beings out to conquer the world and occupy the territory. But Zhang Zhong refused to do it. As a personal guard, he must stay by the side of the insect king. Unless Xiao Ming cultivates a second guard to replace him. Otherwise, Zhang Zhong will never leave. So Xiao Ming planned to take Zhang Zhong out to fight, but Zhang Zhong disagreed. He has a deeper understanding of high-level strength. If he encounters an evenly matched opponent, then Zhang Zhong will not be able to protect the safety of the insect king in front of the opponent. The aftermath of the battle is enough to destroy the body of the insect king. Alas, in the end, the newly gained strength was not of much use. This made Xiao Ming very helpless. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 315. The Earth Spirit Pearl plays an important role in the world of the legend of Sword and Fairy. Xiao Ming hacked the Earth Spirit Pearl this time. The impact on the future plot is quite large. But Xiao Ming didn't know the situation of this gem. Even the identification technique was used, but there was no effect. However, it was difficult for Xiao Ming to use the identification technique on the Earth Spirit Pearl. This level is not enough. Of course, even if Xiao Ming knew that the name of this gem was the Earth Spirit Pearl, he also guessed that it would be of great use in the future. Xiao Ming's choice would not change because of this. Escaping from the demon locking tower must be the first priority. Other things will come out later. In the demon locking tower, the insect human continued to develop steadily. Green Xiao Ming's energy was also mainly used to replenish Kunlun's energy. The appearance of Kunlun has a benefit, which makes Xiao Ming's unused mental power available. At the same time, it also plays a role in converging mental power. In the past, Xiao Ming's mental power was often overflowing. It was easy to leak out and expose his strength. People can feel that he is a master at first glance. Now only a small part of the spiritual power blue bar remains, and most of it has been absorbed by Kunlun. There will be no overflow. In this way, Xiao Ming looks more like an ordinary person, and only people with extremely sharp senses can perceive Xiao Ming's strength. Yin Xiao Ming left a housekeeper clone in the general's tomb. He returned to Beihe village again. After meeting Han Mensi, the Korean medical fairy, Han Mensi cried to Xiao Ming about what happened later. It turned out that after Yin Xiao Ming left, Li Xiaoao and others went to the Jade Buddha temple to solve the problem of too many civilians becoming monks for no reason. It is said that the abbot of the temple is a monster transformed from a string of Jade Buddha beads. He specializes in forcing others to become monks. Later, he was subdued by Zhao Linger. But at this moment, the Black Miao people came to Beihe village and kidnapped Han Mensi to Gian Mountain. When the protagonist and others came back and learned about this, they also chased to Gian Mountain. As a result, they encountered an ambush by Elder Shi. Although the three people's skills have greatly improved, they are still no match for Elder Shi. In the critical moment, Zhao Linger expressed her willingness to leave with Elder Shi, which saved the lives of Li Xiaoao, Lin Yuuru, and Han Mensi. She also left the alchemy furnace and books related to alchemy to Han Mensi. After that, Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru continued to pursue Zhao Linger's whereabouts. She probably went to Yangzhou, which was 2 months ago. They didn't know anything else. After bidding farewell to Han Yuxian and his daughter, Xiaoming did not choose to go to Yangzhou, but turned back to Linjiabao. Because Xiaoming thought that Lin Yueru should write a letter to his father, and Lin's mother would naturally see it. Asking Lin's mother should make it easier to find their whereabouts. After meeting Lin's mother, he did know what happened later. But Lin Yueru did not write a letter to his father. Instead, more than half a month ago, Lin Tianese received a letter from the capital and learned that Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru were both in the capital, so he went there in person. He fought with his future son-in-law Li Xiaoao, and according to his own words, he let Li Xiaoao win 2 moves. He also talked a lot with his daughter. Lin's mother heard and saw everything. The general experience was, Lin Yueru and Li Xiaoao went to Yangzhou, where they caught a female thief. Later, they also eliminated a group of toad monsters in Toad Valley. On the way, I learned about an incident. On an unknown mountain road, the general of the Bai Miao tribe, Gai Lojiao, led his troops to fight with Elder Shi for Zhao Linger. As a result, Elder Shi was outnumbered and blew himself up to kill all the soldiers. Only Gai Lojiao was seriously injured and survived. Later, the sword saint of Shushan passed by here and thought that Zhao Linger had killed everyone, so he took Zhao Linger away. Later, when Lin Yueru and Li Xiaoao passed by, they woke up Gai Lojiao and learned about the incident from her. Because of their good impression of the Shushan school, both of them thought that the sword saint should not make things difficult for Zhao Linger. So the two of them went to the Shangshu mansion in the capital, which was the home of Lin Yueru's cousin Lu Jinyuan. I met Lin Tianese again here. Of course, it was the Lu family who wrote a letter to inform me. Lin Tianese failed to defeat Li Xiaoao and take his daughter away. He was a little embarrassed, so he left the capital and returned to Linjiabao. Before leaving, Lin Yueru asked her father to contact Shushan sect and ask the sword saint to release her. It would be best if Lin Tianese could go there in person. Lin Tianese secretly sighed that his daughter was too stupid. If Zhao Linger was trapped in Shushan, wouldn't her daughter's marriage be settled? And there was no need to trap Zhao Linger for a long time. After a year or 2, when Lin Yueru gave birth to the child, Zhao Linger would naturally give up. Lin Tianese didn't know that Zhao Linger was actually pregnant with Li Xiaoao's child. His idea was not tenable at all. So although Lin Tianese wrote a letter, his words were not very firm. After reading it, the sword saint naturally understood that he didn't want Zhao Linger to get out of trouble immediately. Fortunately, Lin Tianese did not go to Shushan, but returned to Linjiabao. Xiaoming was able to meet Lin's mother in Lin's castle. And finally learn the whereabouts of the protagonists. Now Lin's mother also knew that Lin Yueru and Li Xiaoao's skills had greatly improved, and they were already comparable to her husband, and they were enough to protect themselves. So she no longer asked Xiaoming to look after her daughter. But since Xiaoming knew that the third apprentice sister Zhao Linger was arrested, how could he remain indifferent? So after a day of reorganization, Yin Xiaoming left a housekeeper clone and set off to the capital to find the second apprentice sister and Li Xiaoao. Of course, since Zhao Linger fell into the hands of the sword saint, Xiaoming was not particularly worried. First of all, the sword saint is indeed kind-hearted. Secondly, Lu Xiaoming occupied most of the top floor of the demon locking tower, but he never saw Zhao Linger coming in. It shows that the sword master did not imprison Zhao Linger in the demon locking tower. Probably because they were treated politely by the Shushan section considering Zhao Linger's bloodline, this is very possible. Then the matter is no longer urgent. Because of this misunderstanding, Xiaoming traveled all the way and fought some man-eating monsters along the way. The most important thing is that he was delayed in one place for a while. The real geographical location of the Wuliaofeng in Lushan Mountain should not appear on Xiaoming's journey at all. Even if Xiaoming takes a long detour, he should not pass through Lushan Mountain. But this is the world of reincarnation, and the plot of the Fairy Sword series does not require the entire map. So naturally there are some maps from other mission worlds mixed in. Lushan Wulaofeng is such a small map, and it is a training type map. Attached to the Saint Seiya world. Saints use microcosms to fight. The small universe is suitable for almost any level of reincarnation. But it is a rare power system in the reincarnation space. Although the threshold for obtaining a small universe is average, the threshold for promotion to a small universe is relatively high. The vast majority of reincarnators who practice small universe only stay at the stage of bronze saints. However, there are many intermediate and advanced reincarnators who often choose to study the microcosm in order to achieve a breakthrough when all avenues of advancement are difficult. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 316. How did Xiaoming run from the world of Xianjian to the world of Saint Seiya? The principle is very simple, because he is a VIP. The barriers between the mission worlds can block his detection and scanning, but will not block his people. It just so happens that the world of Xianjian is a neighbor of the Five Elders Peak of Mount Lushan in Saint Seiya. So Xiaoming strolled to another world. In fact, only a small part of the scope of Xianjian and Saint Seiya is a neighbor. Most of the plots of Saint Seiya take place in Japan, Europe, the seabed, and the underworld. Only the part of the plot of Five Elders Peak takes place in China, so it can naturally coexist with the world of Xianjian. In fact, Five Elders Peak is not big, and the actual territory used by Xianjian is only a part of China. So there can be many Saint Seiya worlds coexisting with Xianjian, and there are more other worlds. It's just that almost all reincarnations don't know about this. All kinds of supernatural powers of reincarnations come from the reincarnation space, so they are also subject to the reincarnation space. If the reincarnation space does not want the reincarnation to know something, then even if the reincarnation sees it with his own eyes, it will automatically block it. As a VIP, the reincarnation space will certainly not do anything to Xiaoming. Why would you provoke a being who may be equal to you in the future just for such a small thing that is not worth keeping secret? Haha, how can the reincarnation space be so indifferent to the importance of things? So Xiaoming himself can cross the barriers between the worlds and will not be blocked by the space. But his reconnaissance skills, such as scanning maps or circles, cannot pass through the barriers. This is because the difference in strength is too great. Although the space does not block Xiaoming, it will not open the barriers for him just because Xiaoming's reconnaissance skills cannot pass. The space is not a dog licker. This raises a new question: even the reincarnation space does not block Xiaoming, why can the locking demon tower? The answer is simple: the space knows Xiaoming, but the locking demon tower does not. Since Xiaoming has come to play in the reincarnation world, it depends on Xiaoming himself whether it is a blessing or a curse. The space doesn't care about such a small matter, and the VIP shouldn't care about it either. In the world of Saint Seiya, the microcosm refers to the potential cosmic energy inside the human body, which is the source of human power. Saint Seiya detonates the microcosm in the body, which can emit extraordinary power. Xiaoming definitely doesn't mind learning this kind of power. Learning the microcosm is a natural thing for Silver Xiaoming. Source energy, which Xiaoming doesn't know what it is it not the potential cosmic energy? To be fair, source energy is probably much more advanced than the so-called cosmic energy. Therefore, it is as easy for Xiaoming to learn the microcosm as to learn to eat and drink water. In addition, the microcosm is greatly affected by the spiritual power of each person. Xiaoming does not have these excellent qualities such as firm will and fighting spirit. but Xiaoming has a super strong mental power blessed by the Zerg spiritual sea, which makes Xiaoming's microcosm very powerful from the beginning. After learning the method, Green Xiaoming also opened the microcosm without any effort. At this time, the power of the silver network and the green network was revealed. The microcosm system was integrated into these two energy networks, affected by the combined effects of energy flow, strong mental power, and Xiaoming's own qualities. Both of Xiaoming's microcosms broke through to the stage of silver saints in one fell swoop. In terms of quantity alone, their microcosm energy is more than that of gold saints. It's just that in terms of quality, Xiaoming has not yet reached the level of the seventh sense. So he is a silver saint with super strong microcosm energy. Xiaoming's outstanding talent was valued by his teacher Tonghu, and there was still a little doubt. People with Xiaoming's personality should not have such a strong microcosm. Under Tonghu's careful teaching, Xiaoming learned a lot of Saint Seiya fighting skills. He also learned a trick Lushan Zhenglongba. However, Tonghu also worried about this disciple. Zhang Xiaoming, classmate, obviously has a very strong microcosm, and his close combat skills are also okay. When practicing, he can always be varied. But when it comes to actual combat, the performance is always unsatisfactory. It makes people love and hate him. However, his powerful microcosm smoothed out these shortcomings. Even if he didn't perform well, Tonghu felt that only the gold saints could deal with him. At the same time, Xiaoming also discovered a major feature of the Saint Seiya world, God suppression and bonus. In the Saint Seiya world, Xiaoming's other energy systems were severely suppressed. And the Saint Seiya's strength is also due to a great bonus. The source of these suppress ions and bonuses is not the world, but the gods who really exist in this world. Is this a war of faith? The faith of the Saint Seiya is Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. And the holy clothes are the artifacts given to the Saint Seiya by Athena. Tonghu originally planned to train Shiryu to become the bronze saint of the celestial dragon. Now there is another candidate, Zhang Xiaoming. Xiaoming is also very interested in the holy clothes. Xiaoming can make ordinary armor himself through source energy or alchemy. The defensive effect must be not low. But the holy clothes are artifacts with the will of God. Xiaoming has no ability to copy them. So Xiaoming still wanted to get the bronze armor of the celestial dragon. Mainly, he wanted to study what the armor was all about. During the period when Silver Xiaoming was training as a Saint Seiya, Green Xiaoming was a little bored staying in the insect nest of the demon locking tower. Under Zhang Zhong's control, the development of the insect race is quite stable. It is much better than when Xiaoming was in charge. Now it has infiltrated several levels of the locking demon tower. Green Xiaoming has nothing to do except charging Kunlun in the Earth Spirit Pearl. He was so bored that he started to educate. Teach all the insects to learn telekinesis and microcosm. There is no problem with telekinesis. Even a disabled insect man of level 1 can learn it. The insect race is really talented in this area. As for the profound things like microcosm, Xiaoming originally thought that it would be difficult for the insect race. Unexpectedly, they all learned it within a few days. You know that this is very discouraging. Although the microcosm in other worlds cannot be blessed by God. But it is still a very strong power system. After careful inquiry, it was found that if a person has faith, it is easy to learn the microcosm for his own faith. This is the case with the insect race. Of course, the insects believe in their creator, the king of insects, Green Xiaoming. Although their faith cannot provide them with any divine power bonus. But they are all willing to fight for the insect king, even at the cost of their lives. They are perfect warriors who combine beauty and wisdom, insect fighters. Thank you to the readers who voted and subscribed for Lazy House. Your support is the driving force for Lazy House to persist. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 317. Silver Xiaoming was not able to participate in the selection of celestial dragon saints after all, because Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru actually entered the demon locking tower. WTF. When Green Xiaoming just scanned them, he really couldn't believe it. They are not monsters, how could they enter the demon locking tower? Could it be that someone pretended to be them? But when he saw the three tall reincarnations around them, it seemed that they should be real. Xiaoming had seen the costumes of these three reincarnations before. In the secret realm of One Piece, the three admirals of the Navy headquarters were dressed like this. When Xiaoming was doing odd jobs on the Navy warship, he had seen posters of the three admirals and other things. He also knew that they were the famous natural fruit ability users. Xiaoming didn't get the relevant information at that time about what their abilities were. Looking at these three people, they were wearing blue, yellow, and red full-body suits, the white cloak of the Navy Admiral. It was obviously cosplay. Xiaoming didn't know that imitating the appearance of the characters in the plot was quite popular in the reincarnation space. Zhang Shizu, whom Xiaoming met before, is one of the imitators. The first group of people who cosplayed were all fans of the characters in the plot, and some of them cosplayed the corresponding characters in the plot to show off because they had similar abilities. After that, there were a large number of reincarnations who took advantage of the situation. There were many cases of cosplaying as swordsmen, but actually being magicians. Although this behavior cannot fool the old hands, it can still fool the new reincarnations. This is the same as the various common scammers in society. Although many people have been deceived, there will always be new people to deceive. Later, imitators have become one of the mainstreams in the reincarnation space. Many people even have several sets of cosplay costumes. They can imitate in different ways. After all, if you enter the world of One Piece and cosplay the Admiral of the Navy, it is a suicidal act. Of course, there are also some senior cosplay fans who not only imitate the characters in the costumes, but also imitate their behavior and language. The most excessive ones are those who imitate through plastic surgery. This kind of brain-dead fans are usually more terrifying, because their efforts, fanaticism, are several levels higher than ordinary people. It's just that Xiaoming doesn't know many plot characters at all, so he can't tell much. Only the original versions of the three in front of him, Xiaoming has seen, so he can see it. In the scan, these three people are not much of a threat to Xiaoming. The strength is roughly equal to level 4. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru's strength at the moment is about the same. They are weaker than those insect lieutenants under his command who have mastered telekinesis and microcosm. So Zhang Zhong did not stop the Lord Insect King from joining this team. He just brought dozens of powerful insect fighters to follow. To be honest, Li Xiaoao and his group were suddenly surrounded by a large group of monsters of various shapes, which really scared them. They almost broke through. However, Zhang Zhong suppressed his momentum from a distance, and Li Xiaoao and others did not dare to move when they felt this pressure. As the insect fighters made way for a path in the middle, the Insect King and Zhang Zhong walked to Li Xiaoao and the others leisurely. Xiaoming clasped his fists and saluted, "I don't know if you are Li Xiaoao, the young master, and Lin Yuuru, the master. I am the Insect King under Master Zhang, and I am honored." The two people on the opposite side were confused. Sure enough, it is really troublesome to pretend to be your own pet. Green Xiaoming continued to explain. I am a monster subdued by Master Zhang Xiaoming. Because I did not do evil, Master Zhang accepted me as his apprentice. A while ago, I met a bad guy in a certain place and punished him. As a result, I was seen by a passing swordsman, who thought I was doing evil, so I was captured and put in the demon locking tower. I heard the master describe your appearance before, so I recognized the young man and the master. I don't know why the two came to the demon locking tower. Where is Master Zhao Linger? Of course, there was truth and falsehood in the words of the Insect King. When he was captured, Xiaoming had not yet made friends with Li Xiaoao and others. So he had to lie about the time he entered the tower. The reason for entering the tower was true, which made Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru feel the same way. The Sword Saint could lock Zhao Linger in, so it was not surprising to lock up another innocent monster. But this matter was too sudden, and the two did not know whether to believe it or not. Li Xiaoao was a little stuck. At this time, the reincarnation in a blue suit spoke, "Do you have any evidence to prove your identity? You can't just say it is, right?" This seemed to be provocative, but the tone was very kind. It was clearly reminding the Insect King to show his skills. It seems that he was planning to improve his favorability. "No problem, I'll give it to you." Xiaoming nodded and saluted, and performed an alchemy. This is Zhang Xiaoming's signature skill. Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru saw it and immediately believed the words of the Insect King. At the same time, they also admired Zhang Xiaoming very much. The strength of this Insect King is no less than that of themselves and others. And the other monster who didn't say a word was even more terrifying. Young Master Zhang/senior brother was able to subdue such a powerful combination. He is indeed a real person who never reveals his true colors. If we get their help, then the chances of rescuing Zhao Linger will be several times greater. After Li Xiaoao's narration and Lin Yueru's supplement, Xiaoming also knew the whole story. At first, Xiaoming thought that the third junior sister Zhao Linger would be treated with courtesy by the Shushan section. However, the truth was not so. She was also imprisoned in the demon locking tower by the Sword Saint. The reason why they didn't pass through Xiaoming's territory was because Zhao Linger was treated differently. She was directly locked up in the lowest level of the locking demon tower. She didn't have the freedom of ordinary monsters at all. Yin Xiaoming regretted that he had wasted time at Wulao Peak, otherwise he should have been able to catch up with Li Xiaoao and Lin Yueru to come to Shushan. No, it's better not to catch up. Xiaoming thought about it and thought, how dare I come to Shushan? I really don't know how to face the Sword Saint. If he finds out my secret, it will be over. Besides, Yin Xiaoming is outside and Lu Xiaoming is inside, so they can open Kunlun and send people outside the locking demon tower. Squeeze a little, and now Kunlun can squeeze in one person. If both sides open at the same time, a normal person can crawl through Kunlun. This is really a lucky coincidence. Otherwise, Xiaoming can't explain to Lin and Li why he can't enter the locking demon tower to save his third sister. With the help of the local snake, the Insect King, and the deterrent power of Zhang Zhong and dozens of insect fighters, Li Xiaoao easily avoided all the hardships that he should have encountered in the locking demon tower. The monsters that wanted to eat people all retreated when they saw such a large force. Occasionally there were a few very strong monsters, but they were only mid to high level 5. They were scared away by Zhang Zhong from a distance. As for whether there were stronger monsters hiding in the dark, it was unknown. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 318. Just when the 3 reincarnations who cosplayed as the 3 admirals of the Navy were full of pride and felt that they were about to win the mission, the real test finally appeared. Xiaoming deeply suspected that the space must have interfered. Otherwise, it would not be possible to avoid all the insect humans easily. 3 reincarnations were pulled into a ring alone, and there were also 3 people on the opposite side of the ring. A 3-on-3 battle came. This ring wrapped in the barrier was not straight, blocking the way forward. Zhang Zhong tried to attack the ring twice, but he couldn't break the defense. What level of attack power does Zhang Zhong have? He couldn't break the defense. This level of props is almost impossible to appear in the hands of a D-level reincarnation. It's 2 against the sky. Xiaoming guessed that the space gave such a prop to the enemy's reincarnation through a certain plot. Just to isolate the insect humans on his side. This is probably a one-time prop, and it even comes with a time limit. After a certain time, it cannot be used. This ring appeared so inexplicably that Xiaoming didn't even know what impact the result of this ring battle would have on his group. So it's better to win. On the ring, his side is cosplaying the three admirals, Aokiji, Akainu, and Kizaru. They are too lazy to come up with new names. Later, Xiaoming also learned that the three enemy cosplays are Nobunaga, Yujin and Knight from the Phantom Troop. The battle in the ring began without any nonsense. The attack was initiated by the enemy. This made Xiaoming wonder if this ring may even have a limited existence time. Pseudo, Yujin is not an user, he is a werewolf, and it is appropriate to cosplay Yujin. He quickly transformed into a wolf and accelerated his feet to rush towards the pseudo Akainu in the middle of the three admirals. The wolf he transformed into was the kind of wolf that walked upright on 2 feet, not the shape of a beast that landed on 4 feet. The fake Nobunaga was advancing beside him. He was not an user either, but he had a Japanese sword in his hand. He might be a Japanese swordsman. Only the fake Knight who followed a few steps behind them was an user. He held a needle infused with nin in each hand, and no one knew what it was for. But judging from his speed, he could keep up with the werewolf. This guy's physical skills should be good. The 3 members of the brigade were all targeting Akainu. He was not vague. He threw off his cloak and made seals with his hands, Zi Yinsu Zhou Mao Yin. Fire style, Phoenix fire technique. Akainu was actually a fire style ninja, and his cosplay was reasonable. 8 or 9 fireballs were shot at the 3 people who attacked. Wojin grabbed with both hands, and Nobunaga chopped several times with his sword. With the combined strength of the 2, they easily solved several fireballs. But the speed was inevitably slowed down. Then I felt a chill. It was the ice magician, fake, Aokiji, who released ice magic on the 3 people. The magic did not cause much damage to the 3 people, but the deceleration effect was obvious. Fake, Kizaru immediately took out a heavy machine gun and started shooting at the 3 people in the brigade. The 3 people in the brigade also reacted quickly, and they quickly unlocked their own deceleration effects, and at the same time, they split into 3 groups. The group charge just now was also to see the enemy's style. Now that it is almost clear, they each choose their opponents. Yujin continued to rush forward to compete with the fire ninja Akainu. He planned to rely on his thick skin and flesh to resist the opponent's fire damage. Nobunaga went straight to Kizaru. He was fast enough to fight in close combat. Even if he was shot a few times, it would not be fatal. The speed of the knight was not too fast, so it was not a big problem to be slowed down, not to mention that he had a killer. So the knight ran towards the ice mage Aokiji. This situation seemed to be exactly what the trio of generals wanted, so they did not change their scattered positions, but instead rushed to attack in 2 rounds. The crowd of insects and humans watching were still wondering. One side had 3 ranged fighters, and the other side had 3 melee fighters. The configuration of this team was too coincidental. Akainu and Yuakin were already fighting in a crackling battle. Both of them were good at attacking more than defending. After a few encounters, they left several wounds on each other. Then Kizaru abandoned the machine gun, pulled out a pair of military daggers, and actually played melee with Nobunaga. This is something that only people who are a little confident in melee would dare to do. Not only him, but Aokiji was the same. When the knight approached, his hands were instantly wrapped in 2 ice swords, and he also attacked the knight. The battle instantly entered the stage of close combat. Xiaoming has 2 main means of reconnaissance, mental power and telepathy. Their reconnaissance principles and criteria are different, and the results of the reconnaissance also have their own tendencies and errors. The scanning map derived from the Zerg's mental power can show the threat level of other individuals to oneself. However, The standard of this scan is to calculate the combat power of the two Xiaomings together. Because the two Xiaomings are one person. But in fact, the two Xiaomings usually act separately and rarely together. So relatively speaking, the enemy is actually more powerful. Moreover, Xiaoming is not very familiar with the basis for the Zerg to judge the enemy's strength. However, with the strength of the Zerg, Xiaoming still trusts the scanning results. The reconnaissance method of the mind ability of Yuan and Ning is a relatively vague judgment method, because the mind ability is closely related to the experience of the ability user. Unfortunately, Xiaoming, a mind ability user, has too little experience. Especially combat experience. So Yuan is mainly used to observe the terrain and understand what happens specifically. As for judging the enemy's combat power, there is a considerable error. Since Xiaoming's favorite game is the Magic Planet game, Yuan and Ning present the reconnaissance results in the form of Xiaoming's familiar rank. If the opponent is not too much beyond oneself, this result is generally okay. When he first met Zhang Shizu, because the opponent's strength was too strong, Xiaoming couldn't judge at all. Not only Zhang Shizu. Even the accompanying Rashi immortal of the Loose Cultivator Alliance, Mengan of the military, the aliens who handled the passport, and He Vuchang of the underworld, all of them were beyond Xiaoming's judgment. In addition, Xiaoming still doesn't know what the principle of judging the ability of Nin is. Simply put, it is the feeling that the opponent gives Xiaoming in the dark. Although he knows the opponent's rank, he can't judge the opponent's power system. Unless the opponent's system is more familiar to him, and the opponent shows certain signs. For example, the fake Akainu he met this time. He had hidden well before and had never shown any signs of chakra. Xiaoming didn't know that he was a ninja. Until he made a move. But even if he made a move, it seemed that he couldn't be sure, because the reincarnators were very good at deceiving people. It seemed that Xiaoming himself was the most deceiving one. He still had the nerve to say that about others. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 319. The battle in the ring continued to heat up, with the pseudo-admiral of the Navy and the pseudo-brigade members fighting each other. The three battles were very intense, and it seemed that someone could fall at any time, and the winner would be decided. The first result was the battlefield between Aokiji and the knight, which seemed to be the least intense. Aokiji, with a pair of ice swords, stabbed the knight in the leg for less than 3 minutes, and because of a moment of negligence, the knight stabbed him with a needle. Then it was like being acupunctured, and he couldn't move at all. It seemed that the victory or defeat had been decided. Unexpectedly, the knight didn't finish off Aokiji, but quickly turned around and rushed to the battlefield of Akainu and Uzumaki, trying to fight 2 against 1. Is this knight mentally retarded? Of course not. There is a mystery to his ability of mind. Acupuncture can make the enemy unable to move. It's like acupuncture. The opponent's strength may be comparable to his own, or even slightly better. Therefore, the knight set up relatively strict conditions, restrictions, and oaths for this. One of them is that when in the state of being fixed, the opponent is not hurt. This is a restrictive auxiliary skill. The time of the fixation is enough for the knight to influence the battle situation. Once the person who is fixed is attacked, the fixation will be directly released, and the remaining telekinesis of the knight will defend the opponent from attack. This skill does not seem to be very useful in a one-on-one battle. At most, it can allow you to escape. Using it well in a group battle is the key to changing the situation. Just like now, Aokiji is fixed. The knight and Yujin are 2 against 1, and Akainu will definitely lose, then 3 against 1, Kizaru is also finished. There is only one Aokiji left, and even if the fixation is released, it is useless. The three members of the brigade can easily defeat him. But just when Xiaoming and other spectators thought that the overall situation was settled, Aokiji suddenly moved. I don't know if Aokiji used any secret skills or used any special props. Anyway, he released his own fixation state. Then he used a big move on the knight's back, and dozens of ice cones shot out in a row, piercing the knight's body like a string of arrows. The knight died. This magic takes too long to prepare, and it is only effective when the enemy relaxes his vigilance and turns his back to the magician. In close combat or head-on combat, the effect is not as good as other magic. Once the knight died, the battle situation was really clear. Seeing that the defeat was inevitable, Yujin and Nobunaga began to fight desperately. Completely ignoring the damage they suffered, they fought to the death. The result was that Akainu was slightly injured and Kizaru was seriously injured, but neither of them died. Yujin and Nobunaga were dead. The space is fair. Giving the enemy team a ring prop also gives the own team a prop to remove the status. In fact, after the battle in the ring lasts for 3 minutes, Aokiji can use this prop to remove the blockade of the entire ring. At that time, the insects rushed up and the battle was sure to win. However, with the help of the power of the insect man, the rewards for the 3 admirals are bound to be reduced. So Aokiji judged the situation and did not use the props to remove the ring, but used it to remove the state of being immobilized. He turned the tables in one fell swoop and also got the drops of the brigade. It was perfect. However, the brigade team itself was at a disadvantage, and it was easy to make mistakes in a hurry, so it was not surprising that they lost. The knight's ability to immobilize Aokiji was very high, and normally Aokiji was unable to remove it himself. As a result, the knight was careless for a moment, resulting in the destruction of the team. In a normal battle, the knight would of course pay attention to his back at all times, and it would not be so easy to be attacked. This time he was careless, and he was immediately unlucky. Be careful, 10,000 times is not too much, carelessness, once may be fatal. This is Xiaoming's understanding of this. Just say that you are naturally wretched, why find these boring excuses? After the victory, 2 of the 3 admirals disappeared, probably because they withdrew from the world. Only Kizaru was left, and continued to follow everyone. Because they won the battle, they naturally gained some favorability from Li Xiaoao and Lin Yuuru. So Kizaru didn't hesitate to spend a mission card to stay, just to squeeze out the last bit of benefits. So he begged Li Xiaoao to help him refine 3 Linghu Xiandan. At the same time, he didn't miss the benefits of the Insect King. At least Kizaru thought there should be some benefits. Look at the Demon Water Gun and Hacker Energy Gun in the hands of the Insect Fighter, both are super powerful items. If he had one, the battle just now would be easier. But he also knew that the favorability was definitely not enough, so he took out something to exchange with Lu Xiaoming. It was very famous, it was a kind of devil fruit, human fruit. Xiaoming had heard of the devil fruit for a long time. It was a specialty of the world of One Piece. After eating it, it can give people some superpowers. In the secret realm of One Piece, Xiaoming had only heard of it, but never seen it. Now he finally saw it, which is a great relief. It's not right. Why is there a remnant behind it? Kizaru didn't know that Xiaoming could see the description of the item, so he started to promote it non-stop. Don't look at this fruit as inconspicuous, its name is the human fruit, it is a wonder in the world. After you and your subordinates eat it, you will definitely be able to transform into a human form. He thought that green Xiaoming was originally a bug, and now he has cultivated to a half-bug, half-human form. He should be very yearning for something like the human fruit. However, the description of this defective human fruit in Xiaoming's eyes is: those who eat this fruit can transform a random small part of their body into a human form. It is about the size of a fist. but he still retains the weakness of being afraid of sea water. It's just that the degree of weakening is lighter than that of normal fruit ability users. This is useless. This kid Kizaru is so unreasonable. It's obviously a scam. Grab a handful before you leave. And Xiaoming also kind of figured it out. Devil fruit is a specialty product of the One Piece world, and the reincarnation space definitely doesn't want it to be everywhere, as if it were wholesale. But if some are not sold, the One Piece world will undoubtedly lose a lot of its charm. So the reincarnation space made a compromise and produced these defective products for sale. However, defective products that seem useless to other reincarnations can be turned into treasure in Zhang Xiaoming's hands. You must know that Xiaoming's source energy can repair items. In other words, it is very possible that Xiaoming can repair the devil fruit. If it comes true, this would be awesome. Although devil fruit users may be restricted in other worlds, their combat power cannot be underestimated. This is a top resource. However, Renren fruit is really unreliable. So the Insect King rejected the deal. The words imply that Kizaru, he just doesn't like Renren fruit. Is there anything else? Kizaru was overjoyed. He did have a few of the defective fruits. I didn't expect that something like this that no one wanted could find a home. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 320. Xiaoming used a water gun, a hacker energy gun, and a little ammunition. He exchanged for 5 defective devil fruits. Xiaoming deliberately did not let Kizaru see the energy shield. They are, mimicry fruit, light floating fruit, quick cutting fruit, smoke fruit, and human fruit. The last human fruit was given by Kizaru for free. Soon after the exchange, Kizaru disappeared. He was probably afraid that the Insect King would find him to defend his rights after discovering that he was deceived, so he ran away first. The characteristics of defective fruits are randomness and locality. And people who eat this kind of defective devil fruit can no longer eat any other form of devil fruit. So their value is a very interesting phenomenon in the reincarnation space. Depending on the specific fruit, there are various different situations. For example, natural fruit. If it is a complete product, it must be very expensive, or even unsaleable. But as a defective product, it can't be sold at a high price. The reason is that natural ability users can make their whole body elemental. But if only a small part of it is elementalized, it can't do anything. And it also affects the overall. The key is that the reincarnationists have no choice. Which part of the body will be elementalized is not chosen by the reincarnationists themselves, but is determined randomly. If you are unlucky, you will suffer the consequences of your own actions. There was once a reincarnationist who took the risk of eating a defective magma fruit. As a result, when he used his ability, his lungs turned into magma and burned his other internal organs. There was also a person who ate the thunder fruit, and his thigh turned into lightning and electrocuted himself to death. Fortunately, there was a resurrection stone. Later, these two people often killed themselves because of their immature control of the fruit power. The last one had to withdraw from the reincarnation space, and the other simply died. There was also a person who ate the smoke fruit, and his shoulders could turn into smoke. But that's all. When using it, his arms would fall off. Later, a consensus was gradually reached in the reincarnation space. Natural fruits can only be eaten in their entirety. Of course, from time to time, there are always some opportunists who take risks and contribute a lot of jokes to everyone. The animal type fruit is much better than the natural type fruit, but it also depends on luck and character. The difference between the non-Africans and the European emperors is really huge. Since defective products only change the bodies of a small number of people with abilities, they usually do not bring particularly large negative effects. As long as they are not those particularly strange animals. If it is an animal that is particularly large or small, it will be very embarrassing. Some poisonous animals are sometimes very troublesome and may poison themselves. But if the transformation of the body is not very obvious, since the reincarnationists generally have good physical fitness, they can generally withstand some minor injuries. As for growing rabbit ears, foxtails, etc., it is not a problem at all. If you are lucky enough to get the claws of a leopard, the wings of a bird, the eyes of an eagle, etc., it will be quite powerful. It's just that the animal fruit is too luck dependent. The degree of its strengthening of the reincarnationists is not worth it to bet on your luck. Although the reincarnationists themselves cannot eat it, they can give it to their pets or their followers. In the eyes of most reincarnationists, pets and followers can be left to take risks. They are originally taking risks for the reincarnationists. However, even for pets or followers, the reincarnationists are only willing to let them take the risk of eating animal-type fruits. Forget about natural-type fruits, the risk is too great. So there is still a market for defective animal-type fruits. As for defective superhuman-type fruits, whether they are useful or not depends on the nature of the fruit. Their prices fluctuate the most. Some are very popular, such as the rubber fruit. When activated, it can make part of the user's body have the characteristics of rubber. It can be extended and elastic. This is very good, and it can generally be useful. Even if it is not useful, there is no harm. For male reincarnationists, if a few special parts have this property randomly, it is simply a gift from God. Therefore, the price of rubber fruit has risen unprecedentedly. Since the protagonist of One Piece is a rubber fruit ability user, defective rubber fruit is almost the easiest to get. The base number is really too large, so there really are lucky people who are envied by everyone. There are many similar reasons, such as the flower fruit, the split fruit, the slippery fruit, the poison fruit, and so on. Some other fruits are not so popular. For example, the one Xiaoming got, the imitation fruit, the light and soft fruit, and the quick cut fruit. The imitation fruit is good for being able to imitate others. But if you can only imitate a small part of a random part, it is basically useless. The possibility of randomly getting the part you want is too low. The light and soft fruit, the complete product can change the weight at will, which is also good. But the defective product can only change a small amount, and the practicality is too poor. It is better to learn some skills such as light body magic. The quick cut fruit is even funnier. The complete product can turn any part of the body into a blade. It is an offensive superpower and is quite powerful. But its defective product is very embarrassing. The internal organs become blades and cut themselves in minutes. If a special part of a man becomes a blade, then the rest of his life will be goodbye to happiness. It's terrible. All the fruits that Kizaru exchanged with the Insect King were useless fruits. He was reluctant to give up the useful ones. So after the exchange, this buddy immediately slipped away. Xiaoming used the source energy on the 5 fruits with great interest. I thought that this devil fruit could be restored to its original state. However, ideals are full, and reality is very skinny. Devil fruits, incomplete, do not accept repair. They are actually complete defective products. This is a bit difficult to say, but it is an indisputable fact. Because they are not complete products that have not been made, but incomplete products that are specially produced. They are originally made to be defective. So they cannot be repaired. They are not broken at all. Let's settle for the second best. They can still be strengthened. The first strengthening cancelled the random setting, and Xiaoming, who strengthened them, designated the parts instead. Xiaoming sent the fruit to Yin Xiaoming through Kunlun and strengthened it again. So the range that the fruit can be transformed has become larger. About the size of a complete arm. Therefore, the effects of the devil fruits after the second strengthening have changed. Quick cut fruit, incomplete. Add 2, the user can activate the ability to turn his right arm into a sharp blade. Smoke fruit, the user can activate the ability to turn his head and neck into smoke. Imitation fruit, the user can activate the ability to turn the head and neck into the appearance of other people. The prerequisite is that the user must touch the target's head with his right hand. The human fruit, the head and neck of a non-human user can be transformed into a human form. The light flying fruit, the user can increase or decrease his weight by 50% by activating his ability. Who will eat these fruits? Let's wait and see.